His father allegedly forced his 6-year-old son to run on the treadmill because he believed he was too fat. The boy later died from injuries believed to have resulted from chronic abuse. The footage showed Gregor repeatedly putting his son on the treadmill, even though he could not keep up and kept falling. Once, when Gregor put his son back on the treadmill, he looked like he bit him in the head. Father Christopher Gregor and his child, Breanna Micciolo. 2 weeks later, on April 2nd, Gregor said he brought his son to the hospital after the boy woke up stumbling, slurring his words, feeling nauseated and short of breath. Corey was taken for a CT scan, where he began having seizures. Life-saving measures were taken, but Corey could not be saved. What does the prosecution allege happened to Corey? On March 20th, 2021, security surveillance footage from the gym at Gregor's apartment complex recorded the child running on a treadmill as his father lifted weights. Gregor was also seen on the video going over to the treadmill and continually increasing its speed, which caused Corey to fall off the machine, face first, at least 6 times. Dr. Ye Kaiao Ong, who evaluated Corey the night of April 1st, 2021, testified that aside from some bruises and scratches which varied by degree and age, Corey appeared to be in good health when he was discharged from Jersey Shore University Medical Center just after midnight on April 2nd, 2021, with no signs of infection or sepsis.
We marked down all over the body, and we saw like some bruises, abrasion. The most significant one is on the chest bone area, like about 5 by 5 centimeter bruise. The rest of them are small minor scratch and bruises on the head, anterior chest wall, and legs.
So did you observe any scratches on Corey's body?
Yes, I saw some crack.
And did you observe any abrasions on Corey's body?
Yes, I saw some abrasion.
Now, calling your attention to the abrasion, specifically marked as 2, can you tell the jurors where this abrasion was located on Corey's body?
Abrasion is on the left temple area, one abrasion, and another one on the right knee area.
And specifically in regard to bruise number 3, can you tell the jurors where that bruise was located?
Yes, as I mentioned before, this is in the mid-sternum area. Size is like about 5 by 5 centimeter circular.
And can you tell the jurors about bruise number 4, which was located?
Bruise number 4 is on the left side of the abdominal area. We call it flex area.
And what about bruise number 5?
Bruise number 5 is at the left arm area.
And what about bruise number 6?
Bruise number 6 on the left elbow area.
And what about number 7? Can you describe that for the jurors?
Bruise number 7 is on the left, the extensor aspect of the left hand area around the wrist.
And what about bruise number 8? Can you tell the jurors where that was located?
Bruise number 8 is on the right side of the posterior aspect of the arm area.
And what about abrasion number 9? Can you tell the jurors where that was located?
Abrasion number 9 is on the right knee area.
And what about bruise number 10? Where was that located?
On the right legs below the knee joint area.
And what about scratch number 11? Where was that located?
Yes.
Observe any abrasions on Corey's body?
Yes, I saw some abrasion.
Now, calling your attention to the abrasion, specifically marked as 2, can you tell the jurors where this abrasion was located on Corey's body?
Abrasion is on the left temple area, one abrasion, and another one on the right knee area.
And specifically in regard to bruise number 3, can you tell the jurors where that bruise was located?
Yes, as I mentioned before, this is in the mid-sternum area. Size is like about 5 by 5 centimeter, circular.
And can you tell the jurors about bruise number 4, which was located?
Bruise number 4 is on the left side of the abdominal area. We call it flex area.
And what about bruise number 5?
Bruise number 5 is at the left arm area.
And what about bruise number 6?
Bruise number 6 on the left elbow area.
And what about number 7? Can you describe that for the jurors?
Bruise number 7 is on the left, the extensor aspect of the left hand area around the wrist.
And what about bruise number 8? Can you tell the jurors where that was located?
Bruise number 8 is on the right side of the posterior aspect of the arm area.
And what about abrasion number 9? Can you tell the jurors where that was located?
Abrasion number 9 is on the right knee area.
And what about bruise number 10? Where was that located?
On the right legs below the knee joint area.
And what about scratch number 11? Where was that located?
It's on the left legs below the knee joint area.
And what about bruise number 12? Where was that located?
Bruise number 12 is on the right temple area.
Now, doctor, can you tell the jurors what your impression was regarding the bruising that you observed to Corey's body on April 1st when you had observed him in the emergency room?
Right. I saw like a multiple ecchymosis.
Let me just stop you there. What's ecchymosis mean?
Ecchymosis means there is some bleeding underneath of the skin for like a few hours to few days.
And what other impressions did you have regarding the bruising?
Those bruises are in various stages, as I mentioned before. Some of them are maybe hours, some of them are maybe days. I cannot tell you exactly more than that.
Doctor, when Corey was at Jersey Shore, did you order blood work?
Yes, I did.
And was Corey's blood collected on April 1st, 2021 at approximately 10:49 that evening?
That exactly.
Gregor's defense quizzed Ong on whether he followed the proper procedures in discharging Corey and releasing him to his mother in the early morning hours, around 1 a.m. of April 4th, 2021. Ong insisted that Corey's blood work and other diagnostic tests came back within the normal range, and that discharge with instructions to follow up with a child abuse specialist was the appropriate step. One of the investigators in the case, Matthew Scuddy, testified to the autopsy performed on Corey. Scuddy also described going to Christopher Gregor's home. He said the smell of cleaned or dried vomit was emanating from the victim's bedroom.
What happened when you went inside?
We go inside, we do an initial, first the responding Breanna Township police officers do initial clearing for safety to make sure that there's no one inside hiding or anyone else injured inside the residence. Then at that point, we begin our search process. The scene then gets turned over to us once it's made safe, and we document everything that we see through photographs and reports.
Did you make any observations of the residence once you were inside?
Just that it was a standard apartment. It was second story, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen, a family room, but nothing really jumped out at us at that moment.
Other than visual observations, did you make any other observations with any of your other senses?
Yes, there was a smell emanating from what we kind of narrowed down to the child's bedroom of the lingering odor of either cleaned up or dried vomit.
And how were you able to narrow it down to that location within the apartment?
The smell was stronger coming from there. We didn't see anything, but we were able to smell it.
So you didn't find any vomit?
No.
What else did you do when you were in the apartment that night?
We did a quick initial search of the residence. We didn't want to go through it with a fine-tooth comb just yet because we had an autopsy scheduled for 9 a.m. the next morning. So in this case, because we didn't have much information as to why we had a deceased 6-year-old, we decided as the investigative team that it'd be better to do a quick cursory search of the apartment and then secure it for the night and go back the next day.
What did the cursory search consist of?
We're basically looking for anything that may jump out at us at that point, and also looking in areas to see if there's something we can find that may lead us to what happened. So with the apartment being pretty minimally furnished and having minimal items inside of it, it was a rather quick search, but we were able to look inside the top layer of the garbage can as well as the family room and the bedrooms.
While you were there, did you seize any evidence?
That night, phones were taken, as well as a paper that was from Hackensack Meridian Hospital for Breanna Micciolo.
And where were you when you first saw Mr. Gregor with Corey?
William Doyle, who worked as a triage nurse at Southern Ocean Medical Center, described seeing Gregor bring Corey to the emergency room on April 2nd. Doyle described Gregor as having a clinical affect and didn't seem upset.
I was in the waiting room. I was speaking to another patient at the time. I'm right near the door, speaking to another patient. I did not hear any commotion. I did not hear any urgent sound that would redirect my attention. A registrar came up to me and said, "Bill, you have to look at this." So I went over to Corey, and he was in the arms of Chris at the waiting room entrance, or just past the waiting room entrance near the desk.
Now, the first time that you observed the defendant with Corey, can you explain to the jurors the position of Corey in relation to the defendant?
Corey was over. Corey was in Chris's arms. His arms were over Chris's shoulders. His legs were dangling. His arms did not look like they had much movement to them. His legs did not look like they had much movement to him. His head was rested on Chris's shoulder. His head was his face was difficult to visualize. So when I first approached them, I knew that something was concerning, but I couldn't see everything I needed to see. So I was depending on Chris to convey a sense of urgency or unwellness that I did not get from him at first. It was more of a clinical description of what was going on, and I did not immediately feel I had to rush them back. I definitely knew it was concerning, but I needed just a little more information. If I saw Corey's face right away, it would have been much easier, but Corey's face was on Chris's shoulder.
So the first time that you made this observation, that would be, the two of them would have been in the lobby area.
Yes.
And did you approach the defendant in the lobby area of the emergency room?
Yes.
And what immediate observations were you able to make of Corey in the lobby area?
So I went over to them, and I was splitting my attention between Chris and Corey. What I could tell was that there wasn't a lot of spontaneous movement from Corey. He was not really moving on his own. He appeared to have a lack of tone to his muscles, and there was a lot of support coming from Chris in keeping him in the position that he was in.
Did you speak to the defendant in the lobby area of the emergency room?
Yes.
And would this be a practice or a common practice to engage in something like that?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors what the defendant said?
Chris told me that he introduced himself, who he was the father, the son, and he told me that this was around 3, nearly 4 p.m. He told me that earlier in the day, around 9 a.m., his son was dropped off to him, was with his mother the night before. He did tell me that the patient was at Jersey Shore University Hospital and had a workup and was discharged. And just a side note, once you hear that, less than 12 hours later, you kind of go, okay, like maybe he's not that sick. So, I need more information. So talk more. So Chris told me that earlier that morning he appeared loopy, he was very drowsy, and he put him to bed. And later in the afternoon, Corey continued to be loopy and drowsy. And when all that time passed and he was still fatigued and not himself, that's when he brought him into the ER. So that's what he told me.